people have been saying that we've been getting these star coin codes since the beginning, and this year they just completely wiped that out and gave us a Yeti.
You even got people that were like, they messaged support and they said, oh, can't help you. Oh, now they can, because you've been called out.
I want to give Star Stable the benefit of the doubt and assume the two options, like one of them was mislabeled or something. Like, I don't think Star Stable would really scam people. Like, that seems like a very bad business move to me.
Okay, listen. I know what you're all thinking, okay? This is completely out of my realm. I am mainly a Star Stable role player, which sometimes is embarrassing to admit, but that's what I am. That is my whole thing. But I am also an avid video essay watcher. I work from home, so it's all I do, and I am also usually pretty on top of everything that happens in the community. I've given my opinion on things every once in a while, but it's not common that I do. The purpose of this video is not to focus on my opinion. Matter of fact, I'm not going to give you my exact opinion until the very end. The entire point of this video was for me to speak about the current controversy, do my own research based on what I have learned, listen to both sides of the argument, play devil's advocate, and just see what I can get out of people and why there is an uproar and why there is still people defending SSO. Again, I have to say that this is my first time doing this. It may not be completely organized, it may be a damn mess actually, and I've dramatized it on purpose for the sake of entertainment. Please keep that in mind. I really suggest you watch this entire video in its entirety, like the entire thing, before you start typing up on your keyboard about how I'm stupid or people in this video are stupid or Star Stable stupid or anything like that. This video is not to spread hate, it's to inform and it's to educate. And for other people that are probably like, oh my god, get a life, blah 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 blah, who cares, it's pony pixel drama. To an extent, I do agree with you. I think it is ridiculous, but there are a lot of concerning things being brought up that could affect the state of this game. Not the game entirely, just their reputation, and from another situation arising, it could also affect their sales. It delves a little deeper than it has in a while, but it's not new for Star Stable to meet this level of controversy, and like I said, I just really wanted to explore the entire situation. So, what's going on? We'll start from the beginning. Basically, the community has already been up in arms since the release of the winter update. To give you a long story short, the event was extremely buggy. It was slightly disappointing due to the amount of bugs that just made the entire experience just unplayable to a degree. There were bugs that actually kept people out of the Winter Village, their games were crashing, the Winter Village was bright blue and giving people migraines, and not to mention that for the entire first week, we really thought we were gonna have to collect 18,000 snowflakes. So people were already a bit peeved. Star Stable actually did end up fixing the whole snowflake thing, and instead of collecting one snowflake at a time, you can now collect 3 at a time, and the whole process is a lot faster. I remember it took me about 3 days to get to 300 snowflakes, and then I made it to 7,000 in like 2 hours after they fixed it. Kudos to Star Stable on that one. People were still weary though, and 4 days before Christmas Eve, this beautiful post arose, accusing Star Stable of being basically scam artists. Now, we're not gonna get into this now, it's gonna be later in the video, but we're gonna get into it, I promise. So of course, people were again even more weary at this point. But it's alright, despite our concerns and our complaints, at least we were gonna get 300 star coins on Christmas, right? No. You're an idiot for thinking that, apparently. We didn't get 300 star coins. If you're new here, Sorry, I just had to sigh for a second. If you're new here, Star Stable usually gives us 300 star coins every Christmas. We used to get a few star coin codes every year, including the birthday event and Christmas. Sometimes they were just strewn around randomly, but this year we didn't get any. We didn't get any for the birthday, and of course we were all expecting to get one for Christmas because that's the big Papa holiday, right? You can't make children sad on Christmas, right? No, instead you get a Yeti that scratches his ass and then rolls his eyes into the back of his head because I guess that scratch was just so good he had to make it known. First, we're gonna focus on the star coin issue because that is the biggest controversy at the moment. I wanna say this is the one people are really focusing on. It wasn't very hard for me to find people that were in favor of boycotting SSO, which we will get into, and people who were just mad at SSO in general. Matter of fact, everyone in both of my Discord servers, because yes, I have two, I couldn't find a single soul that wasn't angry about this. There's been a whole other situation on Instagram where people are rightfully angry that bigger creators are not speaking up about issues in the community. I understand the frustration with this 100%. I remember before I had a platform, it really did peeve me when there was issues going on and influential people like didn't say anything at all. But you guys gotta remember, this whole situation as a whole took place right before and after a major holiday. But here's the thing, even if these creators weren't busy because of the holidays, you still can't force them to say anything. Luckily for you though, I am more chronically online than most, and I have no issue just saying whatever the hell you guys tell me to say. This isn't me bashing other bigger creators, by the way. I'm friends with most of them. I've talked to most of them about this, and they know I'm not bullying them, you know? Okay, cool. But there is a huge difference between creators just not saying anything because they're busy and creators just blindly defending Star Stable. This has been an issue forever. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. This community has always had a huge issue with toxic positivity. Star Stable themselves also have an issue with it, and sometimes it really is their downfall. But that's not what this video is about. I just want you to know I hear you on that 100%, and I agree with you. Some people really just need to stop blindly defending SSO and see both sides of the situation, and that is what this video is. But I feel like people that are against SSO also need to take a step back and see the other side as well. And that's why we're going to be digging into both sides, as I've said a million times. Since it was just easier to find people who were outspoken against SSO and technically really boycotting them, that's where I went first. Okay, so it's Friday, December 29th, 2023. I just woke up, and I mean when I just woke up, it's been like 10 minutes since I got up. I haven't drank water or done my morning pee yet, so I'm a little out of it. I just wanted to come on and say they gave us the star coins. I had a whole conversation on my Discord about everything, and people are still upset whether we got the star coins or not. I immediately was just like, well, there goes my video, but I don't think so. I feel like instead of just ditching the entire thing because I just wasted 3 days of my life, if that's the case, I should just document this and figure out why people reacted like this in the first place. So I'm still gonna play everything I had originally edited, but my commentary after these people are interviewed is gonna be completely different, and I'm gonna have to go through and redo all of that. But nothing else has changed pretty much. All the interviews, all the editing is the same. My commentary is the only thing that's gonna be different. First people I asked were my Discord staff, because not only did I trust their judgment, but I knew they were pissed with SSO. Most of us are older players that have been playing for a long time, minus my sister and her friend who was also a mod. I gave my moderators a list of a few questions and I let them answer away. Of course, Daniela Moonstar was the first person to answer me because that girl, she is just on top of everything. So this is what she had to say.
Hi, I'm Daniela Moonstar. I've been playing SSO since July 2011. I've basically been playing this game for a very long time, and I've become a fossil at this point. At first, I was under the impression, leading up to Christmas, we were gonna get our usual star coin code. Then Christmas Eve came, and one of those typical clickbaity SSO YouTubers on the platform did a video claiming we might not even get star coins in the thumbnail, and my Delulu ass was just like, nah. this is just another clickbait video. There has to be star coins, right? Then bam! Christmas Day. What did my ass find out? What we all got next morning? A scratching, barbarian, sunk in saddlebag pet yeti named Betty. I was fuming, y'all. What is your opinion on the boycott? I think it was definitely a long time coming, because I think especially after the way the horse progression update and character update uproars went in the first half of the year, the tensions and grudges with SSO were still high. It was mainly a buildup of people starting to feel mistreated again by SSO even more. Third question, how do I feel about those considered white knights? People that are considered white knights, in my experience, are basically people trying to defend SSO to the high heavens with not even acknowledging why people are upset. A couple influencers I followed when this whole thing started that are considered white knights use the excuse of, it's cause of the inflation, guys. It's cause they need money as a company. They worked really hard, guys, etc. And then it leads to shitting on people who are for the boycott and think it's only because of not getting a free star coin code, when it's a lot more than a star coin code. Even some people that I know who normally don't fall into this category have made some really insensitive responses to this. I think overall with white knights and SSO, they not only act really insensitive to the issues of SSO, but also have so much toxic positivity to the point it just gets really bad and hurts people, but also indirectly hurting the community by not understanding why people get upset at SSO. Fourth question, how about Dark Knights? Dark Knights are mainly people that are extremely against SSO, but instead of not acknowledging people's upset like a white knight, they instead get to a point where they just ignore SSO actually doing something good, or people that are just trying to praise SSO from the goodness of their heart on something that they liked, or just showing that they love SSO. Now, a lot of the times, they are right when it comes to SSO's issues, but I do think even they can get too extreme with getting to the point of toxicity as well. Okay, so the final question. Do you think the outrage is warranted? Overall, I think this was a long time coming for them, especially since this was bound to happen again. It looks like it's not gonna slow down anytime soon at the time I'm recording this, since I've also heard there's gonna be a petition for this right now. It also really shows how SSO can once again go right back to pushing people past their patience and limits when it comes to shady decisions they've made, and in turn breaks the trust of players again. And the more SSO chooses to hide behind copy-paste responses and shitty articles, it's just gonna hurt them right in the back. I also think sometimes SSO forgets that we still remember shitty things they've done with this game, and I hope this shows them they can't act like all's well and ends well with an itty-bitty article that responds to like one thing, and properly give back and start properly valuing the community's feedback and truly hear their voices.
In retrospect, and knowing what I know now, as in the fact that we did end up getting the star coins eventually, Moon's points made a lot of sense. The boycott wasn't just about the star coins for some people. The star coins were just the straw that broke the camel's back, and we've seen this a million times in the Star Stable community. I promise you, this is not the first time. Literally just look up star coin boycott. It's happened so many times over. But even after I spoke to Moon, I still wanted to hear why more people were upset and maybe get more of a biased, somewhat answer. I just wanted to hear from somebody that was just fully angry at SSO. So I went to Quibi.
I do not support what Star Stable is doing. Lots of people bought the cheaper Star Rider because they like lifetime Star Rider because they didn't see no weekly allowance. Basically, that's like not okay. Somebody doesn't see that. I wouldn't say it's false advertising, but it's ridiculous. And same with raising their prices. Like, why? I don't support Star Stable anymore, and the team, they need to redeem themselves. I hope they redeem themselves, but I'm gonna make it clear in future videos I do that I don't support the Star Stable team anymore. $300. We got a 300 star coin code every Christmas. We didn't get that this year. We got freaking Betty the Yeti. She's crusty, she's gross. I despise her. I don't know. I'm willing to listen to both sides. Like, I'm willing to listen to people who are defending Star Stable. I'm not gonna get mad at anybody for that, but I'm still just same with the gift card thing. If they don't have gift cards anymore, that's stupid. That was a cheaper option for people.
Okay. So what is Quibi talking about here with gift cards? I'm going to tell you because I had an experience with the gift cards that made me a little upset. Not really upset, I was just peeved, you know? I mean, it's not something to get up in arms about. And it really ties into people with accusing Star Stable of corporate greed. Yeah, I know. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this story that I had with my gift card experience, and then we're gonna, yeah, documentary stuff, I guess. If you weren't aware, you can buy Starcoin gift cards and Star Rider gift cards, where you just buy a virtual gift card, you put an email address in, and you can just gift Starcoins or Star Rider to anybody you want via email. I have used this method millions of times. I buy Starcoins for my friends, I buy Starcoins for giveaways, I buy Starcoins for contests. I hosted a film contest back in February, I think, and I bought Starcoins for the winners. As some of you may know, both of my Discord servers and my fake roleplay barn, I know, so silly, opened up a few weeks ago, and I have about 8 people on my staff who basically keep everything running and just help me in general. So for Christmas, I thought, hey, these people have been working hard. I don't have the money to pay them a normal wage, so they deserve a gift. And my idea of a gift, since they moderate 2 Star Stable online Discord servers, was to buy them Starcoin gift cards. Now remember, I have 8 people on my staff, so my idea was to go on the Star Stable gift card store, buy $15 worth of Starcoins for 8 people, and that would be the end of it. It only comes out to what? I don't know, I can't do math, like $130 maybe? I could afford that at the time. I didn't mind spending that amount of money on people who were working for me. So I go to the gift card store and I'm looking and I'm searching, and the only gift card option is $31.99. To say I was a little annoyed was an understatement. There have been many times, like I said, I have bought Starcoin gift cards for under $31. I even tried to do that select your own amount thing, but every time I tried to do that, it just made me log into my account and took me to a buy screen to buy Starcoins for my own account. So I guess I just couldn't buy Starcoins for my staff. And realistically, I could have, but $31 for 8 people, let me do the math, how much money is that? $255. I could not afford $255 for 8 people just for Starcoins. I'm not gonna say it's shady and I'm not gonna say it's weird, but it makes me want to believe the greedy accusations. Again, they're a company. I don't really think it's possible for a company to be greedy, but money hungry? Definitely, I think so. I just think it's really crazy that they could have made $130 off of me that day, but instead they didn't make anything. And I just think that's ironic. I feel like people would buy Starcoins more if they could afford it. And trust me, I understand that video games are a luxury. They definitely are. Gaming companies have to make money somehow, and they make it off of you. But I just think it's just, again, repeating my point, it's ironic to me that if there had been a cheaper gift card option available that day, they would have made $130 off of me, and they didn't. I'm sure my $130 is not a huge loss, but if I had that thought process and I just effed off and went and bought Amazon gift cards for my staff instead, can you imagine how many other people have been in that same situation where they go to buy them and then they're like, I can't justify that, and they move on to something else? It's just a little food for thought, obviously. I'm not accusing them of anything. I just thought it was ironic, and it brings up another issue that people probably might, just maybe, would buy more if it was cheaper. But again, they know their audience, they know their player base, apparently. Allegedly, they do. I don't know how true that is. And if they think those prices are justified, then there's nothing we can do, because clearly it's working because people keep buying. Moving on, I still wanted to get opinions from people that weren't Star Stable content creators, because if you didn't know, Moon and Quibi are both YouTubers. So they've rode this rodeo I don't know how many times, and they've seen the ins and outs of this, again, countless times. So I just asked in my Discord server, just to ask, my normal friends who are just casual players how they felt about everything going on.
In my opinion, it's just kind of stupid. We're not even going to give you a Starcoin code. We're going to give you this Yeti that's ugly. Ugly. But it's just really, really stupid. It makes no sense. Like, for years they've given the allowance and etc. and all that stuff, and now they're just changing it. And then also they have bumped up the price of Starcoins so much, we don't even know. Like, me personally, I don't have the money in real life to afford a horse. So I've always gone to Star Stable to have the area so I can have a horse and that stuff.
So Kira has a few talking points here. And I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second, because that's what I said I was gonna do. Did you even watch the beginning? She says that the game is changing and yada yada yada. I hear that a lot. but I drift towards the side that the game is gonna have to change to keep up with their newer audience. I've done a whole video on this before. It's one of my recent ones where I talked about how kids these days are just different. They have to change things to appeal to the newer generation of kids. You could do a bunch of research about attention spans, colors, things kids are just attracted to nowadays, and that would explain why the game has been changing so much. Another point that I see on both sides is that a lot of people don't really have the money to be able to afford a horse in real life, so they go to Star Stable. A lot of people live vicariously through this game, and I have to admit, I sometimes do too. Sometimes I wish my roleplay horse Rainley was real. Granted, he's based off a real horse, but that horse wasn't mine and I just wished he was. So it's nice that I can have horses and create a character based on them. And because we put so much love into this game and care about it so much, and we care about our pixel horses so much, we're bound to get a little emotional when things aren't going the way we think they should. I think most people's, well, maybe not most, but a good majority of people's anger towards Star Stable comes from a place of love. I know mine does. I care about this game. I love this game. I have so many memories on this game. I love my fake horses, and I just don't want to see this game die. And sometimes I'm just scared that that's what's gonna happen with the amount of times they've upset their community.
What I think that is going on with the SSO community currently with the whole star coin thing, and people have lost their minds. And rightfully so. SSO charges out the ass prices for their star coins, mind my French, and it's just not accessible for everyone. Not everyone has $140 to pay for star coins, etc. Not everyone can afford that, and it just doesn't make the game fair, one, and two, inclusive to everybody.
This was something I didn't think of. Well, obviously I know that most people can't afford star coins because, like Whimsy said, they do charge out of the ass. But I also didn't think of fairness. Most video games, as it is, aren't really fair, and that's why you buy things. That's the whole selling point of a lot of video games. But the thing that really set Star Stable different from a lot of games was how fair they were. I feel like back in the day, buying Star Rider was justified with the amount of things you got. But they were still fair and gave things to non-star riders, which is why it was amazing that they would give everybody 300 star coins for Christmas. It just sets the tone for the game, especially if you're not a star rider yet. You get 300 star coins and you're like, wow, this game is really generous, and maybe I do want to keep playing it with how generous they actually are. But obviously, as of late, I want to say this has started changing. I feel like 2018 hit and they just weren't really interested in being as generous and fair as they used to be. Of course, generosity can only get you so far. If you're a baker and you own a bakery, you're not just going to give away free bread willy-nilly because that's considered a loss. I don't know what's going on at Star Stable headquarters with their financials, and I don't know how to check really, but I've seen concern floating around that the reason they didn't immediately give us 300 star coins was because it might have been considered a loss, and that's a bit worrying. After these two little inputs, and trust me, I did get a lot, but there's only so much I can put in one video, I decided it was time to go and see the other side. So I asked a little question in my Discord servers if there was anybody who had the opposing opinion and wanted to come talk to me. It very quickly became abundantly clear that there was not a single soul in either of my Discord servers willing to defend Star Stable or even play devil's advocate, so I had to look elsewhere. It was to Instagram. I went because that is where this discourse was taking place. I made it clear that I wasn't going to yell at these people if they didn't have the same opinion as me. I'm committed to hearing both sides. You can't have an argument with one side. And while all of these responses wore me thin, and there were a lot, trust me, there were two people that caught my eye. One of the first people to reach out to me to show their support of SSO with their less popular opinion was Georgia Bluefield. Now, I do know Georgia Bluefield, and she is one of the sweetest people I have met in this community, and her account is beautiful. So I was eager to hear everything she had to say.
So I teeter on the side of being a little sad. I'm definitely sad. Like, I would have loved to have had some star coins, but I can also understand maybe why we didn't get star coins. One of the biggest things that I would have to say that makes me okay with it is us receiving free clothes and free pets throughout this year. I feel like we've really gotten more free stuff this year than in the past years. That's not including, like, you know, 2014 when everyone was super duper close, but I mean, I feel like we got a lot this year in total, so that kind of makes me feel a little bit better about it because I already had outfits given to me, so I didn't need star coins to buy more clothes and stuff.
And while I do wholeheartedly understand every single point Gio has made, I'm gonna interrupt her for a second. She mentions that she was given enough free outfits all year long to be satisfied by not getting 300 star coins, and that is totally valid. If you do the math correctly, from every event we get 3 to 4 outfits. So you could get a minimum of about 10 to 15 outfits just from playing the events. But that's the problem, playing the events. There has been controversy recently that the events in Star Stable are just too tedious and too boring. And while I understand that, that's also just kind of how in-game rewards work. If you want something for free in-game, you kind of have to play the game. That's how most video games are. You're getting free stuff, and in return, the game gets increased player time that looks good for their investors, and they will get more money for our commitment to playing. This isn't me by any means defending how lackluster Star Stable's events are. I'm just simply making a point. You do have to play the game in order to get your free rewards, and that's just the way it works. I think we're lucky that we don't have to pay to get our free rewards, such as, you know, Call of Duty and Fortnite, where you kind of have to buy a battle pass. Of course, sometimes they do give away things for free, but you have to buy a battle pass most of the time. I understand feeling satisfied with the amount of things you get every year just from playing the events. That is a fantastic point to make. That doesn't fix how good or bad the events are, though. An example of a good event was probably the Western event. It was different, it was new, the grinding was reasonable, and a bad example of an event would be the Christmas event this year. I don't even want to get into it.
Like I said, I also don't really agree with not getting star coins. I think that's something that really made Star Stable stand out from other games, was actually like getting free in-game currency, at least for Christmas. And then I also think that it would kind of make up for how buggy Christmas has been, because it's been so buggy.
She makes a fantastic point here. The winter event, Winter Village, Christmas event, whatever you want to call it this year, was a bit of a mess. Now granted, with the snowflake debacle, that whole situation, we can thank Star Stable for correcting it and fixing their wrongs. But that doesn't help that for a whole entire week, some people couldn't even be in the Winter Village. I was extremely grateful for my conversation with Gio. She gave me an insight that I didn't even think about, that some people may just be satisfied with the amount of free stuff we got this year. I forgot to mention the lifetime outfits and then the birthday code outfit we got. There were quite a few things we did in fact get. That wasn't the only person I talked to on this side of the spectrum. I talked to someone else who was more passionate about their opinion on defending Star Stable. This is B-Cloud, or Cloud, just another Instagrammer I met during this whole mess of a situation. She was extremely kind and very cooperative when I asked her quite a few questions that may have felt like I was grilling her. I was really just trying to get into the nitty-gritty of everything that was going on, and she answered everything beautifully. So Cloud actually could not do a voiceover interview like Georgia did, but I'm going to read you Cloud's responses. First off, I asked her just to give me her general thoughts, and this is what she said. First, I want to say I'm not disappointed in not getting star coins for Christmas. Why? Because I never expected it in the first place. We've gotten much less Starcoin codes in the past 2 years than ever before, so I've stopped expecting to get it for every event, not even Christmas. If I did expect it, I probably would have been a little disappointed. I never set up any expectations unless it's for myself or if it's already confirmed by SSO. I do understand why people are frustrated though, but everyone saying they broke the tradition of giving us star coins for Christmas is just weird in my eyes. SSO never signed a contract that said for the upcoming 20 years you will get star coins for Christmas, nor did they ever promise us that we would get it this year. So the people that are disappointed are only disappointed because of their own expectations, which I'm not saying is wrong, but it's not SSO's fault. Also, the whole boycotting SSO thing is just sort of unnecessary in my eyes. I feel like that's going to make the community seem ungrateful and greedy rather than showing SSO what we want. So I responded and I said, my first question is, since you said the boycott is unnecessary, how do you think people should have gone about it instead? And Cloud replies, it honestly depends on what the issue is, like why they want to boycott SSO, because right now all I see is people being extremely negative about everything. Instead of stating the exact issue and suggesting how to solve it, they are bringing down the employees, hating on the supportive side, talking badly about this year's updates, bringing bugs and also star coins into the topic of boycotting SSO. This, first of all, makes it difficult for other people to see why exactly they want to boycott SSO. It honestly just makes them seem ungrateful, childish, and toxic. I'm not saying they are, I'm just saying what it looks like. SSO usually replies to or focuses more on the positive comments or messages, but it's also possible to be constructive and give feedback while also being positive. So if enough people ask nicely or something instead of attacking them, SSO could give us an explanation as to why they haven't given us star coins, or they would probably ask us which gifts we want to see in game and we could go from there. Also, if everyone decided to boycott SSO, they would earn less money and that would not only affect them badly, but it would most likely not affect any of us any better either. I will be honest with you, I really had to take a step back and sit and think about what Cloud was trying to say here. I do agree with her in the sentiment that you should not go and be nasty to Star Stable's social media team. They really do not have anything to do with the game development or the marketing really, from my understanding at least. Their responses to people's concerns was a bit, I don't want to say annoying because that's a rude word to use, but it was very copy and paste at first. And not only until after they were called out for being so copy and paste did they stop doing it. Personally, I really don't think people should be blamed for having expectations for SSO, considering that we were given star coins every Christmas for over 10 years. I can see why some people wouldn't have expectations anymore, considering the amount of star coin codes we get has become less and less and less, but I don't think people expected the band-aid to be torn off that fast. Cloud also says that them bringing in bugs and all of the other stuff into the argument with the boycott isn't very mature or it doesn't make any sense, but I can understand why people would bring that up. Boycotts are boycotts, and when you boycott, there's usually many reasons leading up to why you'd want to boycott in the first place. I'm not trying to invalidate anything Cloud is saying, that's just some things I had to disagree with. My next question to Cloud was, what's your opinion on the prices in general? Compared to other games, do you think Star Stable's prices are justified? And Cloud responds, I think it's hella expensive, but I know or believe there's a reason for it. SSO raised their prices for star coins and Star Rider. That, in my opinion, doesn't have to do with SSO being money hungry. It's simply just because the world got more expensive. Yeah, I understand this. America, things have been insanely expensive as well. Then Cloud continues, if the lifetime option contained no weekly allowance, SSO could probably lower their prices as people would have to buy star coins to get more stuff. But since a good amount of player base have lifetime accounts with weekly allowances, they don't necessarily need to buy star coins to keep playing, so theoretically all lifetime players could just quit buying star coins. But what would happen? SSO would eventually stop earning enough money. And I'm aware a lot of games cost way less one-time purchases, but those are also in most cases huge companies with too much money and sponsors, so they are able to create games and just poop them out with a low price. And then my final question to Cloud was, what's your entire opinion on the A/B testing controversy? She proceeded to send me these two images. In these two images, there are two different ads for the packages, one that states that a weekly allowance is included and one that does not say anything about it. If someone bought Lifetime and the package clearly said that a weekly allowance would not be included, but then logged on to see that it didn't, that's weird because in that case they lost money. Yes, they can ask to upgrade the subscription, but it would still cost them more to upgrade rather than just buying the regular lifetime with allowance. I don't know what to believe when people said they bought it and it looked like a normal subscription but cheaper. I'm not sure if people just didn't see the allowance thing was removed from the ad or if it was actually listed on there. I understand why SSO didn't inform us, and I support it as long as the subscription ad thing didn't make the buyer expect a weekly allowance. Like, if they had bought this one and didn't receive a weekly allowance, that's fine in my opinion because it never stated that it would include a weekly allowance. I don't know if that makes any sense. I can also understand Cloud's point here. And I can fully understand why people are just so at each other's throats because both sides have fantastic points, and Cloud and Geo prove that the opposite end of the spectrum does have some good points under their sleeve. Now, as for the last question I asked Cloud, I haven't touched on this yet, but that brings us to our next situation regarding A/B testing. Now for the whole A/B testing debacle. In my Instagram story, I expressed concerns about Star Stable doing this. Why, may you ask? Well, from a situation that arose from Reddit. First, I'm going to explain to you what A/B testing is, tell you Star Stable's role in it, and then I'm going to tell you why it's good or bad. I guess it's a good time to mention that I do in fact have experience in marketing. I work in social media marketing as my day job, and I'm mainly a graphic designer, blah 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 blah. It's not important. I just sort of kind of know what I'm talking about with this, but of course I did my research just to refresh my mind. Now, A/B testing. It's not uncommon, but I can understand why the topic of this can be confusing. Let's just rip a definition straight from Google, alright? Also known as split testing, A/B testing is a methodology for comparing two versions of a web page or app against each other to see which performs better. Thank you, Optimusly, for the definition. Kisses. Now, if you're still lost, which is understandable, don't feel bad, I'm going to give you an example. I'll spare some lengthy over-the-top explanation, but there is a science to it, and we'll start with that. Humans, of course, are usually drawn to things more that catch their eye, but sometimes companies or businesses can't exactly pinpoint what that is, so they host a sort of experiment. Usually a company will make a split URL, which is basically the same website with two different formats. The welcome page, buy button, and shop could look graphically different, but still have the same general consensus behind it. Same thing, different font, potato, potato. You could go on a website, get version A of it, which would have bigger pictures and less words, or you could go on the same website and get version B, where there may be less pictures and more words. Companies will take data from both of these versions and create a graph just to see which one performed better. Are you inclined to buy a product more if the pictures are larger with minimal explanation? Or does the general population prefer a longer description of a product with less pictures instead? That's only one example of A/B testing, and a rather crappy one at that. A/B testing could be as simple as changing the color of a purchase button and just seeing which color people like more. You could Google what color should a buy button be and you'll get this result. Red. People are more likely to click a buy button if it's red. A/B testing probably played a part in that result. Of course, it's different for every company considering every audience is different. Blue could be more effective as a buy button in some cases depending on the product and player base, and that's why A/B testing is important. They could take a red and a blue buy button and put them against each other. But one Google search will tell you A/B testing is not suitable to test big changes. I've even known that from personal experience. Visual, graphic, and UI-based changes is a fantastic way to implement A/B testing, and personally, I just feel like there's some instances where it shouldn't be used. But what is Star Stable's role in all of this? Well, I'm gonna tell ya. I got these screenshots from SSO's Worst on Instagram. Thank you for letting me use those, by the way. And it's basically explaining the entire situation on why A/B testing even became a topic in the first place. This comes from Reddit by user BrilliantWorry5388. Buyer beware, not all lifetime purchases are equal. Hey all, my wife and I both bought the lifetime price for SSO since we're enjoying it so much. I paid $50 and for some reason her cost was $80 for lifetime. We confirmed we are both looking at the exact same offer within minutes of each other. This was super weird, so I sent a help ticket to support since to my knowledge my purchase was identical to hers and not on sale. This is what they sent back to me. The $50 price point does not come with the weekly allowance, but nowhere on their site did they mention there are tiers of Star Rider. I was not offered the $80 tier. And then this is David from Star Stable. Hi there, thanks for the message. You should check that the offer is different. There is a membership of $49.95 USD, but this does not include the weekly allowance, which is why it is cheaper. Best regards, David. I'm usually pretty good at being informed when I buy something, so here's the help page I referenced when I was considering Star Rider. Nowhere does it mention tiers of Star Rider, and my confirmation email confirms I did purchase Star Rider. And then this person attaches screenshots of it. What's the difference between a Star Rider and a non-Star Rider? Non-Star Riders play Star Stable online for free. As a non-Star Rider, you can only access more land in Fort Pinta. You cannot continue or go on any quests and locations outside of the free area. As a new player, you get to test the game for free up to around level 5. After that, only Star Riders can go to new adventures further into Jorvik. As a Star Rider, you get the following benefits. Weekly allowance of 100 star coins every Saturday. More quests, more horses, choose to set up your home stable in more areas, and we all know the rest of it. I'm in the middle of trying to resolve this with support, but I don't have high hopes. I don't Reddit often, but I wanted to warn other folks in case they get caught up in the same mess I did. This is shady enough that I'm considering reporting it to the FTC. It's too bad. I'm really enjoying the game, but this is too weird. And then this person attached a screenshot of both of the offers they were looking at, one for them and one for their wife. If you look at it closely, you can see that the $50 one says 100 star coins every week, and then the $80 one also says the same thing. Same outfits, same instant star coin bonus, both says pay once, expires December 27th, but the prices are different. It's a weird situation, definitely. I do know somebody in my Discord, I will include the audio message later on, but they wanted to give Star Stable the benefit of the doubt, and I can understand why.
Honestly, I want to give Star Stable the benefit of the doubt and assume that, like, the two options, like, one of them was mislabeled or something. Like, essentially what we were talking about yesterday. I mean, a lot of their business practices have been kind of, like, sketchy lately. I mean, they've kind of always been sketchy. I remember Radioactive used to say stuff like about that. Like, I'm pretty sure she quit, or she was, like, very, like, on the fence about Star Stable for a while before she, like, stopped making videos. She stopped making updates. Maybe, like, I don't think Star Stable would really scam people. Like, that seems like a very bad business move to me. So, like, I want to say that maybe they had an error with the website. Like, they just duplicated the old lifetime option and, like, just changed the price. Maybe they forgot to remove the 100 star coin label.
So there you go. In my opinion, personal opinion here, the issue was not the A/B testing. It was the fact that one of the offers in the A/B testing was mislabeled. Like Chan said, it could have very easily been a mistake, and I'm really hoping that that's what it was. A/B testing is not lying about what a product entails. So yes, it would be A/B testing, which there's nothing inherently wrong with, if Star Stable was offering Group A, the $50 lifetime bundle without a star coin allowance, and Group B, just the regular lifetime deal, $80 with the star coin allowance. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, and they mislabeled it either purposely or on accident. It would be just so easy for them to come out and say, hey, it was an accident and, like, we accidentally duplicated the PNG or whatever, but that's not what happened. Instead, we got this. Okay, I know that was dramatic, but you have to remember my disclaimer at the beginning where I said this was dramatized on purpose. I'm pushing my editing skills here, okay? Like, I've never done this before. So yes, Star Stable did address it.
Hey Star fam.
We're in the process of testing a new offer where you can purchase Star Rider at a lower price with no star coin allowance. This offer is currently available to a small percentage of Star Riders. To preserve the validity of the test results, we didn't communicate this, but we want to address some of your questions and concerns. Why are we offering a new Star Rider subscription? We received requests to offer Star Rider subscriptions at a more accessible price point for our players, so we're exploring Star Rider offers that are more affordable while still maintaining a healthy business model. Okay, that's valid. We tested this Star Rider subscription in a few countries and have now expanded, giving more players access to the game.
Is this permanent?
This is only a test and nothing is set in stone until we have received the results. Until then, if you wish to add allowance to your Star Rider subscription by paying the difference, you can reach out to support. We understand that some players might want to choose which test group they were a part of, but in order to get accurate analysis and A/B testing, the test group should not be aware of others' offers as to not impact the validity of the test results. Again, please reach out to support if you want to switch to Star Rider with allowance. To me, everybody's acting like that's a lot to unpack, and I don't really think it is. I don't know, there's just so much wrong here in my opinion. All I can do is laugh, okay? This would not have been a huge ordeal if they had just said we accidentally mislabeled one of the offers. They didn't address that. They put down that the $50 offer came with a star coin allowance on that person's screen on Reddit. Look, here's the screenshot again. There it is. So what's that all about? So yeah, look, it's the same product with different prices in these screenshots. Very well these could be fake, but I really do not think they are, because there's been a few instances of this if you really just scrounge around in like comment sections and stuff. It's been happening to other people where they think they get a star coin allowance and then they don't. So originally after I had voiceover this segment, I was kind of done with it, but then I went to bed and I kind of woke up and the result of this, I wasn't satisfied with it. I started thinking maybe if you're labeling the same product with 2 different price points and showing it to 2 test groups, isn't that the tiniest bit treading into legal territory? So I googled it. So let's recap, because in my 4 years of being in this community actively, I've learned that sometimes people have listening issues. No offense, but things get twisted, and that is technically really what's been happening the past few days. So basically, a person wanted to buy Lifetime. Their wife also wanted to buy Lifetime. They both look at their Lifetime offers. They are both being offered the same exact product at different prices. So of course this person emails Star Stable and he's like, what's going on? And Star Stable says, if you look, you will notice that they are different products. But in the screenshot and from what this person is saying, they were not different products and they were not shown differently. Again, like people in my Discord said, like I have said, it very well could have been a mistake, but they need to say that it was a mistake. You cannot, whether it's a mistake or not, A/B test at different prices with the same product. It is illegal. I know illegal is a big and scary word, and technically, by definition, A/B testing in this regard is not illegal, it just can be. We could get into the logistics of price discrimination and everything, but it is more likely for your business's reputation to be ruined by unethical A/B testing than it is to immediately get into legal trouble. It's still always a possibility though, and in the words of SSO's worst, it is considered illegal. That wasn't meant to fearmonger. Like I said, this was dramatized on purpose, but the whole point is that what Star Stable is doing is not illegal, it just can be, and they need to be careful. They need to address that what this person is talking about was either a mistake or something, or they need to be careful. I want to go over some other points from people who were defending SSO, because I only got 2 people's thoughts, and I got a lot of responses from people who actually were defending SSO. I think they should also get their 15 minutes to say what they need to say. I don't know, I don't really mind. It is a gift, but they kind of made it feel like it was a right to have it. I'm new to the community and stuff like this just makes me want to leave, honestly. Like, how can people so easily just flick a switch and be pissed off with all guns aiming at SSO? It's almost like the community are looking for a reason to leave. I think that SSO makes a lot for us, and we don't appreciate it. I've seen this argument a lot, that we should just be grateful. I understand why people don't want to be grateful. I'm gonna argue this for a second. Again, let's play devil's advocate. In some of Star Stable's responses, they are claiming claiming that they worked hard to put all the presents under the Yule tree, which I don't doubt, but when you really look at it, the clothing set was just a recolored one from the birthday event. We really only got food and XP and then maybe some winter magic and a few tokens here and there, and then the Yeti. Eleanor Diamond Forest also made this point about the saddle pads that I thought was kind of silly and funny.
We have gotten like some saddle pads and stuff and whatnot. They are not, I don't think they worked that hard on it. One of the gifts was literally a red saddle pad. It was the granny saddle pad. I put it in my store. We can go look at it. But I put it in my store. It's just a red saddle pad. But like it was just a red saddle pad. There's literally nothing special about it. In fact, let's compare. Let's turn the effect off so we can actually see the colors. Where is it? It was this one. Granny Season Jumping Saddle Pad. Okay, so let me put this on. This is what we earned from one of the things that we earned from the Yule tree. Okay, pretty. Yeah, it's nice. And then this is one that you can buy from the store.
It does make me sad that the first person I responded to just feels like they want to leave because of all of this. I promise you guys, there are amazing sides to this community, and I've met some amazing people. If you really enjoy the game and you don't think there's anything wrong, live in that bliss. Just don't get upset when somebody has a criticism of the game. You have every right and every ounce of willpower to step out of that conversation. And that also goes for the opposing side. If you are critical of this game and you're mad that somebody's being positive, just do your own thing. I understand arguing is healthy and debate is also very healthy, especially when it comes to a situation that involves money, but you guys do not need to be insulting each other, you know, wishing each other death and illness. I saw somebody tell another person to get into a car accident. Relax. At the end of the day, this is a horse game. I understand it's frustrating, and the internet is just a fun place to get into arguments. I love arguing on TikTok. I think it's the funniest thing, but you have to understand where to draw the line, and you need to know when to step away for the sake of your own mental health and just the emotional well-being of others. Making this entire video has been exhausting, so I figured why not just stick one more nail in the coffin and add another thing to it that's gonna exhaust me even more. My boyfriend. Now, what is the reason for this? My boyfriend is somebody who doesn't actively play Star Stable, okay? But he's a gamer, okay? Like, this man has been holding a controller since he could walk. I don't think he's put it down for more than an hour, so I wanted to hear his outside input. I know my boyfriend is active in my videos and he does have a Star Stable account. The only reason he's at level 16 is because of me. He played 2 levels, said this is boring, and moved on. So I wanted to hear his input. As a person who actively plays Call of Duty, he is no stranger to scummy gaming companies. Activision is a shithole, and I'm shocked he still plays Modern Warfare. I uninstalled that game literally a week after it came out. I couldn't do it anymore. So kudos to him for that.
I think both sides.
Well, I haven't even said what the problem is yet. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say this. I think both sides are kind of stupid, but we'll get into that.
We didn't get star coins. Instead, we got this Yeti that scratches its ass and then like rolls his eyes on the back of his head because... Oh, wait, it's a girl. I think it's named Betty.
I FW with him heavy.
You what?
I FW with him heavy.
Or
That's like caveman content.
Caveman content? A Yeti?
Content, yeah.
Yeah, I want to know who asked for that. I mean, okay.
So the Yeti sucks, horrible. Then on top of that, getting rid of gifting the option of $5 to $10, horrible, awful. But apparently that's not even the worst offense that they have done. I don't know. It's just that's pretty much the nitty gritty of it. It's just the Star Stable shop has been really weird recently. Just on top of the gift card thing, and then on top of this, it's just like I feel like there should be some kind of statement about this instead of just kind of just phasing this into people's. And I know Star Stable is completely guilty of this all the time. They always do really weird stuff to the store that they just don't decide to tell anybody. And let me tell you, as a gamer, that is really fucking irritating. It makes me so upset because I have been scammed out of really good deals and they just don't disclose anything in those deals. It's really irritating, and it's just, I really wish they would be more like public about like stuff like this. Another thing, me personally, their PR team's a little whack.
I understand. It's so stupid, like the responses you're getting. But again, that's what they're told to say. You have to remember, these are also people that just want to keep their job. Like, this is the job they wanted, this is the job they have. They don't want to lose their job, so they have to do what they're told. Doesn't make it right.
You're not always going to get the desired response. And if they keep seeing this, at some point, they just have to realize, like, okay, they're not taking these responses well. Let's make an actual statement.
Like
so much criticism, and this has happened on multiple occasions all the time. I would end up making a public statement instead of just these cookie cutter responses.
For the most part, as an outsider looking in, he was more on the side of being against SSO. He wasn't 100% against SSO. I guess you could say he took the more neutral approach, but you know, this guy has bigger fish to fry, right? I came to him after he was at work with all this pony drama, so he was just kind of like, this is stupid. Hence him saying both sides are stupid. So really, he wasn't the person to go to for this opinion, but he was the only one I really knew other than my mom that doesn't play Star Stable. I wasn't gonna go all over the internet asking somebody on the off chance that they haven't played Star Stable what they think. So this was the closest I got, alright? Other than that, I think this is where we stop. I told you at the beginning of the video that I would give my opinion, but there's something I want to cover first. It's obvious that we did get the star coins today. They did end up giving them to us. There's been a lot of rumors floating around that the HTML file for the star coins has been in the files since the beginning. So was there really an uproar for no reason, or did Star Stable just give us the star coins to do damage control? I've even seen a theory that they did this on purpose just to see how we would react. I really wonder if that is true, if they got the reaction they wanted. They could have just been experimenting to see how we would react if they took away star coin codes entirely. If that was the case, I feel like this was a weird way to go about it. I really doubt that that's what happened, but who knows? So there's three options. Either they gave us the star coins as damage control, they planned to give us the star coins the whole entire time and we just freaked out for nothing, or they did it on purpose just to see how we react. I'm sure there's other instances that could have happened, but these are the three that I'm hearing. But as for my opinion, I actually talked to the person who started the boycott and I asked them a few questions. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to having them give me a video file, but when they do, if they do, no pressure if you're watching this, I will make a part 2 to this with their responses. I understand why the boycott started. Like Moon said, there was tension from the beginning, and boycotts start for a reason. It's usually because of buildup, and personally, I lean towards that side. Oh my god, my heart's palpitating. For 3 days, my heart's just been palpitating. I don't know why. Now, me personally, I lean towards the side of boycotting. I'll be honest with you, I was not really boycotting before any of this started. I was kind of just looking for excuses not to spend money on Star Stable anymore. Matter of fact, before all of this started, I had actually bought 10,000 star coins and planned to just stretch them until I ran out again. I was really only just going to buy one horse from each release and leave it at that, compared to usually buying 2 or 3. It wasn't really because I had anything against the game at all, it was just more of a wanting to save money thing. I've been trying to save up for a better computer and my car kind of hit the shitter a few weeks ago and I had to pay for that. I think people that want to boycott are valid, it's just the way you go about it. There's nothing wrong with boycotting, there's nothing wrong with being against SSO, it's just the way you go about it. And same for the other side, there's nothing wrong with supporting SSO and trying to make a point on why you're doing it. You just have to be able to see past the blind side and understand each other's point of view. Insulting the social media team, insulting each other, just being completely, I don't know, unhinged really isn't the way to go. A boycott is fine. That's one thing. Speaking your opinion is one thing, but like I said earlier, telling people to die and to get into car accidents and stuff is a bit ridiculous. And again, you need to know where to draw the line. I understand the point of view from both sides, and that's what I wanted to do here in this video. I understand why people don't care, I understand why people are mad, and I understand why people are taking the route of, oh well, that's that and you need to be grateful. There's 2 or 3 sides to every kind of argument that has to do with a public product, so I really just wanted to showcase that. As for the A/B testing, I feel like my opinion was pretty clear that they just need to be careful, because there's nothing inherently wrong with A/B testing. It's just really bothersome that companies feel the need to collect data on everything nowadays, and I understand collecting that data is to improve the game and the prices and stuff, but I just feel like there could have been separate ways or different ways to go about it. And me personally, I would not have chosen A/B testing as the proper way to go. Remember to be civil in the comments. Be civil. I am open to criticism. If I got something wrong, you are allowed to tell me. I'm not going to argue with you. I take constructive criticism very well. If you really do think I have something wrong, or if you think there's something wrong with this video, or if it's damaging, you are free to tell me. I'm not going to yell at you, I'm not going to scream at you, and I'm not going to publicly embarrass you. I feel like people don't really realize how understanding I am, and I hope this video kind of shows that I am pretty understanding and I'm willing to listen and showcase either side of any argument. Nobody's immune to criticism, not even me. Doesn't matter your following, doesn't matter your job or your position in life in general. Nobody is immune to criticism, and neither is Star Stable. And I leave you with that.